everybody, welcome to the Quiet Time Podcast. I got a special guest, a friend, more like family, Desyree Nicole Thomas, entrepreneur, fashion designer, app creator, basketball player, whatever it is, she can do it. What's good?
Nothing, man. Chilling, trying to get after it on a daily basis, man. What's been up?
Chilling. You know me right now, dealing with this shoulder injury, but taking it day by day.
Right.
Yeah.
So minor setback, major comeback coming soon.
You already know. Got to surround myself with people such as yourself to keep me uplifted, keep me positive. Talking to my listeners on the podcast, we talk about mindset. We talk with entrepreneurs, we talk with athletes, business owners. You're all of that. So, with that being said, let's just dive right in. Like, where do you get that mindset that you have to just be such a go-getter? Like, where did that come from?
Honestly, I feel like everybody gets, the fuel to they fire from different places, right? You could get it from, being told no once and being like, oh, you want to tell me no? Bet. Now I'm getting everything. You can't tell me nothing. Everybody gets like their little, I feel like there always is a time in everybody's life where, hopefully, where a flip, it switches. And I feel like for me, that was like really early on. And I think it comes with, seeing my mom struggle. I felt like I got to get it by any means necessary. So I feel like me developing businesses, learning and trying to just better myself as a human being to like pass on the information comes from an early age, seeing like, all right, this is not what I want. Now let me go, plan my life like accordingly. So I feel like that motivation and that switch happened like really early on, and that kind of allowed me to move and be motivated the way I am.
Yeah, I hear you. I feel like a lot of people do have that moment in time in their life, but you constantly go after it. And, you and I have been around each other for a long time. And I've even seen you come at some people in different conversations, like who try to like shut down your dreams or try to say something disrespectful to you about basketball. Mm-hmm. And you shut that down right away. And it's like, it's always different moments. You're always on that constant, like, where does that constant, you're constantly driven.
Man, I honestly don't know. I feel like it's something that's in you. And once you figure out how to tap into it, then it's just there. It's nothing that I have to search for because that's who I am. So I feel like everybody has it, but everybody doesn't tap into it the right way. So with me, it's like me always constantly be hungry and being on it just comes from just knowing who I am, knowing what I feel like I deserve in life. And I feel like that just comes out whenever I feel like somebody's like telling me no.
Do you feel like you know who you are, or do you feel like that's always constantly evolving?
Always constantly evolving. Who I was 2 days ago, probably not who I think I am today. I might have learned something new or be like, oh, now I can see my life this way, or now I'm about to add that on as a little Lego piece. I feel like as humans, we always constantly evolving. Like you might have come into a situation doing this, but by the time you leave the situation, you might own a company. You never really know. So to say like, I know who I am, like today, of course, in this moment, of course, tomorrow, I'm going to learn something new and be probably someone new.
And what do you do? What do you do for yourself personally to always just go after that personal growth? Like what, are you doing something every year? Are you reading different books? Like what do you do for your personal growth?
For my personal growth, I feel like I really be talking to myself. Like as crazy as it sounds, like I'm my biggest hype man. I mean, like, you got this, Des. Like, what we about to get to today? Like, I feel like if you bring that energy into yourself, like you can constantly pass that energy on, and you're gonna get, those people around you. Like, you're one of the most positive people I ever met. So when you surround yourself with people like that, I feel like they rub off on you and you rub off on yourself. So every day when I wake up, like I might tell myself something new that day, might read books. But for me personally, like personal growth has been like learning. Like I've always been obsessed with learning. I love school. Like books, haven't really been a big reader, but the more that I get older and the more I want to learn as like a businesswoman, I've been reading more. And I think just learning has been the biggest key for my personal growth and not being afraid to learn. Really.
Yeah, I think that's key right there for the listeners out there, is that just not being afraid to learn and always constantly, you can't know enough. Like, I've never met anybody who just knows everything. So
Right.
I think this is a great perspective to have. Like, I always talk about the biggest room in the world is room for improvement. I can see that in you. I can see that in you just as a person since I've known you. Fashion, even, let's shout out the app. Let's talk about the app. Like, where did that creative side even come from? Like, I mean, that's just incredible as well.
You talking about Bar Tap?
Yeah.
So Bar Tap came from, I feel like I was looking for something like, like what are we missing? Like, what do we use on our phones? And I feel like every new product that comes out is because the market or the industry is missing it. So I always try to look up apps, right? So I had this first idea where it's like, you about to go hoop and you don't know if people at the park or not. So it was basically an app that shows you where the best runs was, right? So I sat on it. I told people, I'm like, yeah, I'm about to do this app. Right after I was about to do it, somebody came out with the same idea. And I was like, and a couple people hit me up like, ain't this your app? And I'm like, oh man, like, this is why you really gotta be about it and not be talking about it. Because you can talk, but until you really get up and make something happen, it's not going to get done. So with the Bar Tap, I had the same idea. And then I just was like, one day I woke up and I'm like, you know what? I ain't telling nobody else about this app. I'm about to actually make an app and start showing people that I have an app. So every time somebody used to fly into New York, hey, Des, what we on? Where we about to go? And if you know me, I be in the crib. So I'm like, man, I don't know where y'all could go. So I'll be Googling, looking up places to tell my homies to go for the night. And that's kind of where it like popped in my head, like, all right, I'm about to just make an app. So started that way, started building out cities. I did all the front end design work on my own, did all my screens, my pathways. And then I just linked up with a coder and he coded it and gave me a tangible product. And I'm like, dang, I really got an app. And I don't know, I can't name 5 people that have an app. So I thought that was really cool to not only just show women, but people that look like us, like, we can have apps too. We could be in the tech world. Like, yeah. We geniuses.
Absolutely. With that first app idea that you had that somebody else went out there and took, why do you think you waited so long to do that? Like, when I work with clients and entrepreneurs, some of that stuff is just, was it a perfectionism thing? Was it what was it?
I would say I was young and I was bullshitting, really. To be, fully transparent, I think I was just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get to it. Like, I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna do it. And then I didn't do it. So that was just like a learning lesson, as with anything in life. I really stopped being a talker and saying like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get to it, I'm gonna do it. And I really just started doing stuff. So I think had I have been in a different space in my life where I, wanted to just get everything done and, get tangible products, and I think I would have made the app, but I was just talking about it and I should have been doing it. That's all.
You live and you learn.
Man, every day, every single day.
Well, for the listeners out here, Desiree has her own clothing line, which I rock. Todd Patrick. Let's talk about Todd Patrick, where the name came from, and just what made you want to get into the fashion industry, and talk about your process of like how your business started and then where it is now. I know that's like a fully loaded. It's like 3 questions right there, but let's just navigate through Todd Patrick.
Okay, so how did Todd Patrick start? So when I moved to New York, so I'm not sure if a lot of people that are on here know that are tapped in, but I played Division I basketball at Eastern Michigan University.
Shout out to Eastern Michigan.
Whoa, no names still up in them books in there.
Let's go.
So when I moved out to New York, I didn't know what I wanted to do. But I knew I wanted to do something in fashion, because whenever I wouldn't have practice on the weekend, I was driving out to New York, 10 hours there and 10 hours back while I was playing ball. So I started going out there doing some like free editorial work. I had watched some TV show and these girls was living lavish and they was like, I'm a stylist. I'm like, that's how y'all living? I'm about to be a stylist. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I started diving into the fashion, making some clothes in college, like ripping up jeans and hoodies and, trying to dabble into it. And previously I had this little clothing line called Basic Culture. And it was like Egyptian, like screen printed on hoodies with like pharaohs and stuff. So I was already kind of into the fashion stuff. But when I started going out to New York, first weekend I'm out there, I'm like, oh, y'all on another level out here. Like the whole, in New York, that energy is just different.
It's different.
So from when I'm doing the same thing in Michigan, when I go out there, it's like heightened, right? So every experience I'm having is like on a whole nother level of what I felt like my experience was in Michigan. So I start going out there styling on the weekends. And then when my deal fell through to go play in Italy, I'm like, well, I'm about to do this. And it wasn't like, oh, I'm so sad, like I can't hoop. I'm like, basketball was an amazing stepping stone for me, right? And did I want to go play ball? Yeah, but a lot of people don't know, like women's sports, men's sports, the pay gap is crazy, and especially overseas. So when I got to New York after ball, moved there and was like, all right, so let me figure out what else makes me happy. What else am I passionate about? So at the time, I'm like, clothes is cool. Like, let me figure out if this is something that I really want to do. So I started styling and making clothes. And then I signed my first NFL client like 2015. But y'all just built crazy. Y'all really built crazy. Like, y'all might have a 30 waist, but a 26-inch thigh. And I'm like, okay, well, I can't buy this here. Can't buy this there. So I'm going to make it. So the name Todd Patrick, I named the clothing line after my little brother, Todd Patrick. My only brother, named it after him as like a motivational thing. I'm like, you come from Detroit, I don't care where we come from. Like, I'm going to just put your name on all the famous people. And I did it like a watch this thing. But then I'm like, all right, now I'm about to develop it into a business. And started, making clothes and developing it into a brand. And my homies start wearing it. My clients start wearing it. Famous people start wearing it. And I'm like, oh, it's a whole thing. So it just kind of snowballed really from like me being not down and out, but in a tough spot with basketball stopping to me finding life after ball. All my energy I was putting into sports, I just put it into Todd Patrick. And I was going 110% on the court. So Todd Patrick was getting 110%. My clients was getting 110%. So I felt like all that energy is what made it to what it is today.
Yeah, you do give 110. Anytime I had to, you were styling me. Anytime I had something like a big event, going to Toronto All-Star game, getting ready for the Super Bowl, whatever it was, you was, bam, everything was ready. Everything was laid out, came out, laid out the fits. Right. I mean, just everything I've seen you do, you always give it 100%. And then when I was playing in New York and I actually got to spend a couple of days with you or like a day with you when I come over to the city and see how you really have to grind.
Right.
Like, I mean, just how you got to travel, get the fabric, how you got to talk to people, how they might try to up the price on this or that. And then how you just got to really stand firm. That's like a real grind.
Out of here. Can't be that. Like, bro, that fabric was $12 yesterday. How you charging me $16 today? It's a no, bro. It's a no.
Talk about how
you can't baby.
Talk about how if it's tough or if it has been tough for you being a woman in the business and in the fashion world, and how you've had to navigate through that and navigate through different doors, because I do see your clothes on a lot of different people now. I mean, your clothes are everywhere now. So, talk a little bit about that.
I wouldn't really say that it has been difficult to navigate as a woman. I would say it's just difficult to navigate a new field in general. This is like uncharted territory for me. This isn't like, oh, I went to school for fashion. Like, one of my homies is a designer. They put me on. Like, it was really like me figuring everything out, and with, a plan and my people and friends that really believed in my vision, I think it was able to become what it is. So I wouldn't really say that it was that hard for me. I do know that people do have it tough, but I was never somebody that came into the industry like with my hand out, like, oh, give me this, give me that. Like, I was more so like, all right, I'm gonna figure this out. I'm about to do this. I'm going to make this. And I was more so like grinding for it. So I feel like you come in with the mind state is you're going to get it on your own and you're going to build with like-minded individuals, then it's not going to be as hard as it has to be, really.
You go out there and you make it happen.
You got to. Ain't nobody about to give you nothing in life. Nothing in this world is for free.
Nothing. So, we're just going to wrap it up. Like, for the entrepreneurs out there, for the basketball players out there, because clearly you were an athlete and you made that shift, that identity shift to a businesswoman. You have your own business, but you still have that competitive side. So, like, what would you say to an athlete in them transitioning out of sports into business or whatever they want to do, but also just any entrepreneur out there who might be stuck in a rut or something like that?
Okay, so let me talk to the athletes first that are trying to make that transition. Life after ball exists. Life during ball exists. Do not make that who you are. Make that something that you do. Football, basketball is not who you are. You are a human being, and this is what you do, right? So if you understand life after ball exists, start making a plan for when you're about to graduate school. What do you want to do? Not everybody is about to go play professionally, right? You could try. That's cool. Like, try. Give it everything you got, but have a plan after the fact. Right? Find something else that make you happy. Get some hobbies. Develop a business. Like, do something, and don't put all your eggs in one basket as far as sports go, because the ball gonna stop bouncing at some point in life. Even if you're professional, it's gonna stop bouncing at some point. And what I would say to entrepreneurs is, just spoke about this earlier, but do not be afraid to fail. Everybody is going to fail at some point, but I think because of those failures is why you succeed. If you are so afraid to fail that you don't even try anything, you're always going to fail and be stuck in life. But if you do fail, you will learn to dust yourself off and learn how to succeed, honestly. That's the advice I would have for those two separate groups that are kind of like in my lifeline.
And there we have it. The owner of Todd Patrick, Bar Tap, in the record books at Eastern Michigan, just done it all, and a great friend of mine and family to me, Desyree Nicole Thomas. Appreciate you being on the Quiet Time podcast.
I appreciate you, family. Always.
Yeah.